I vent my spleen when I come and talk to guys like you. And I will say this to you, at the next election for Congress and the next one for the president, think carefully about what clowns you want to send off to Washington. I mean, examine them carefully, because they're supposed to represent you, and they're not doing a very good job of it. Okay, excuse me, I do have a tendency to ramble a bit because I got so damn much to cover. Oh yes, one of the top of my lists is NASA. You know that crowd? Never a straight answer? NASA. This Newsweek came out a couple of weeks back. I'm sure most of you may have seen it. This is a shameful issue. This is a shameful article. In search of aliens, it says. And then it says, NASA is out there looking. Now, while I was in Spain, the Spaniards asked me, just as I was going over there, we were celebrating 40 years of Apollo 11. Gee, that was something, wasn't it? We put a couple of guys on the moon. We're patting ourselves on the back and we're tooting our little horns. Wasn't that great? Wasn't that cool? Weren't we special? And I had to say to some of my Spanish friends over there, you can never trust this damn bunch over at NASA. They did go to the moon, but that was only half the story. The story was what they found when they got there. And the story was what the photographs taken. Now, you probably know this, but in case you don't, I'll tell you again. NASA admitted about 2 years ago, I think about 2 years back, that they had inadvertently erased 40 rolls of film from the Apollo program. And that release went out over the media, and Congress didn't say a word, no peep, no poop, nothing. The media itself, they reported it and off into the wind. NASA says we inadvertently, mistakenly, gee, we're sorry, we erased 40 rolls of film from the Apollo program. Now, we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of individual photographs in those 40 rolls. They erased them. Why? Because they showed what they ran into on the moon. They showed what they ran into on the way to the moon. They showed what they ran into when they got there. This has got to go. We can't let that out. But some nitwit in NASA had forgotten that NASA had given a contract to the Japanese Space Agency back in the 60s, probably involving big bucks, where the Japanese, a sharp bunch of guys over there, bought every negative or every shot of every picture taken by the entire Apollo program, and they've got it in their computers in Japan. And NASA evidently forgot that. Now listen, you have to understand something. There are fine guys in NASA. There are good scientists. There's some fine people working there. I'm not putting them down. I take my hat off to them and I respect them. The ones that I'm really pissed off of are the administrators, the policymakers, the politicians. They forgot that they had sold all this to Japan. Lo and behold, I'm at a conference in Tokyo. I was a guest of Junichi Yaoi, one of the foremost Japanese researchers and UFO experts. I was on national television in Japan. While I was there, I was provided some photographs taken by NASA and the Apollo program that the Japanese Space Agency has been sitting on top of for a long, long time. And I'm about to show you a couple right now. Okay, this is -9. This is Apollo Systems A13, yeah, Apollo Systems 13. Now, bear with me till I get this thing up here. Okay. This photograph was taken by Apollo 13. Now, you may remember Apollo 13. It was the one that never made it to the moon. They had a tiny explosion on the way where an oxygen tank blew up, and that they were barely able to get to the moon, go around, and barely able to get home. But they were not alone on that trip. And so while they were out in the way, going and coming, they were little windows and they snapped pictures. This is one picture that was held by the Japanese Space Agency. You can see the Japanese writing here. Anyhow, I didn't bring my pointer. This is the moon, upper left. These two objects here, B and C, are fairly large, circular discs of some kind. But over here, A, which is moving into the scene, here is the positive and here is the negative. I hope you can all see that. The guys in the Apollo 13 capsule. Thank you, honey. Thank you very much. God, you guys are something else. Oh, here we are. Okay, this is a circular disk with a dome. Here's the moon, another disk, but this dude is coming into the picture. And here we are. Here's the photo, and here's the negative down here. This object is 5 miles long. So you wonder why NASA is keeping its mouth shut. How can they talk about something like that? How can they release something like that to you? An object we encountered on the way to the moon that's 5 miles long. Now, just give some thought. Try to consider a technology, a culture, a civilization that can not only build something like that, put it in space, put it in orbit around the Earth, but staff it and man it with how many? I had the pleasure of being on a couple of aircraft carriers. My son is a career naval officer. Spent 14 years on aircraft carriers, Nimitz class, atomic powered carriers. For those of you who don't know, they are impressive. They're 1,000 feet long. They have a crew complement of 5,000 men. These big nuclear Nimitz class carriers have 5,000 guys in their crew. They're massive, they're gigantic, they're unbelievable. Now, we were joking one day about it, Eric and I, my son. What kind of a crew would this dude have with, 5 miles? What are they doing over there? What is their pastime? What is their function? What is their purpose? And having been on a Nimitz carrier a couple of times, they're very impressive. Soda fountains, snack bars and all the rest of it to make the guys comfortable, I anticipated, I've assumed that on board an object out there 5 miles long, you have bowling alleys, restaurants, theaters, all kinds of entertainment. Because we've learned over the years that if you're an alien and you are involved in human beings, you need entertainment. So they probably have saunas aboard, and probably the most favorite pastime, I would think, is watching human television. Think for a moment